But first, joining me now is TalkTV presenter Nicola Thorpe and TalkTV contributor Esther Crack, who's a brace of TalkTVers. And summer's here, Esther, I noticed, with your outfit.
Yeah. It's too hot to be fully clothed in winter garments.
Of course. Well, it's always too hot to be fully clothed, in my estimation. Otherwise, life gets very boring. All right, Nicola, let's talk, first of all, about Boris Johnson.
Yes.
Tomorrow, we're told we're going to get this Privileges Committee report. It's so damning, he's already quit. And he's now been spending the last 3 days throwing his toys out of a gigantic pram.
Yeah.
Which indicates to me that he's feeling very beleaguered and possibly thinks this report is so damning that there may be no way back for him. Can we hope this? Or is he like a boomerang, where every time you throw him away, back he comes?
I mean, we can hope and pray. I'm actually praying that the Speaker of the House decides to remove his parliamentary pass as a result of everything that's gone on, as they did with John Bercow. Of course, we need to remember that Boris Johnson didn't have to resign. It wasn't necessarily going to be the outcome that he would be suspended longer than 10 days. It would have had to first go to the MPs. Then he could have taken a petition to his constituents. But he threw his toys out of the pram, and then 3 minutes before midnight, I believe on Monday, he made another submission to the parliamentary committee. They've now reviewed that. I think it's well overdue that we get the results of this. Boris says, let people judge the report for themselves. Well, yeah, we will.
Yeah, we will. I mean, Esther, he's come out fighting today because Bernard Jenkin, one of the people on the Privileges Committee, was apparently at some party himself during the lockdown periods. Therefore, he says he's a hypocrite. Therefore, he should resign. Therefore, of course, nothing this report does. It's very Trumpian, all
But
this.
the thing is, he could be right? If it's proven that he was actually at a party, fine, he has broken the rules. But it shouldn't come from Boris, right? This man has no principles to speak of. I mean, he allegedly resigned for his principles, but he has none. He has no principles, he has no convictions. He's clearly not taking responsibility for what's happened. And really, it's in the interest of the Conservative Party to distance themselves from him as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Don't even mention his name, because I think it's a complete disrespect to the country for what he put this country through whilst, you know...
What's amazing, though, a bit like with Donald Trump, he still carries this large number of people that like him.
Well, he's such a narcissist.
And actually, the naughtier the stuff, the more they like him. It's like he's like a magnet to naughty moths, right? It's like the worse he behaves, the more damning the judgments, the worse the stuff that comes, the better some people think he is.
But I don't think that'll ever be, again, the majority of the country.
Well, that's the key thing,
exactly.
isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, let's turn to ITV. So you had all the bosses hauled down there by the House of Commons Select Committee today over this Phillip Schofield scandal. I was apparently the first question, so we might as well listen to it.
Piers Morgan said, and I quote, "Everybody at ITV knew what was happening. Somehow you and perhaps Holly Willoughby were the only ones who did not know."
The people that have said they knew would only have heard rumours about it. If any one of the individuals you have named or referenced had come to us and said there is evidence that there is a relationship between Phillip Schofield and person X, we would have, with evidence, we would have been able to launch a formal investigation.
So it's quite interesting, this, Nicola, because Dame Carolyn McCall there, we're supposed to take her word for all this, right? I can only go on what my experience with her was when I left Good Morning Britain, where she has repeatedly said since then Meghan Markle's letter to her had nothing to do with my departure. That's just a brazen lie. I know that because she's told other people it had everything to do with my departure. So I'm dubious about the veracity of what she says. But on the investigation, here's what I think about that. They said their investigation basically constituted asking Phillip Schofield and this young runner, are you having a relationship? To which they both repeatedly said no. Yeah. That's not an investigation, is it? I mean, everyone, when I said the whole building knew, everyone was rumour-mongering about this. How far can
they go? How exactly?
Well, the young man had gone to the National TV Awards and he'd broken down after a few drinks and told everyone in the ITV box, I'm in love with Phillip Schofield. This wasn't a secret. So the idea that their investigation began and ended with, well, are you doing it? No. That's not an investigation.
But I understand the position that she's in is a difficult one, because she said today that they'd investigated it, or they'd spoken to both of them 12 times. And as Esther said, if two people deny that they're in a relationship, there's very little that they can do.
Is it an egregious offence for a guy in his 50s to be having a relationship with someone aged 20 at work? I mean, in the old days, 40% of marriages began in the workplace, normally with an older guy and a younger woman, just historically.
Well, I don't think it's an egregious offence. Actually, I do think that the nature of how we've been even talking about this is completely inappropriate. We should be talking about his wife, who he lied to, and his daughter.
But that's his business.
And well, but the thing is, that's what I think is actually more.
But that is his business. I'm not quite sure what the crime. It's so bad, apparently, that everyone agreed Phillip Schofield's entire career had to be destroyed, and yet I'm not seeing evidence of a serious crime. I'm seeing him, he's got a personal struggle with his sexuality. Okay, a lot of people do. He's had a relationship, all right, it's inappropriate, yeah, okay. Where's the crime here?
Yeah, because it's all legal.
There's no crime there, but it is an abuse of power. If somebody, not just that age, but that level of power within an institution...
But the alleged victim hasn't said that.
Yeah.
They haven't said what, sorry?
Well, the alleged victim hasn't complained.
No, but ultimately...
And hasn't made any protest about the so-called abuse of power. So my question is, they have decided it is.
But it sounded like
But there's no complaint from the supposed victim.
No, but it sounded very much like a mutual agreement that they realised that his position was untenable
well, the thing is, it's
because of the denials over the relationship.
Well, that's not really what is borne out by what they said in the committee. They actually said that he got promoted to a new job at Loose Women.
Because of
Phillip Schofield's position was untenable as a result.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he just had to go.
Maybe. I just think the more we don't hear more bombshells, the more we don't hear contradictions of Schofield's story, I'm just curious whether people do think what he did was a hanging offence. You may not like it. Yeah. I don't particularly think it was particularly edifying. He shouldn't have done it. But end of a career, shamed, vilified, put on the old pitchforks. I don't know.
I think it's because Phillip got him his job at ITV, and that's where the abuse of power comes in, because he's powerful enough to get him through the door. He's powerful enough to manipulate his career in that way. But it is legal. The man in question hasn't said anything illegal happened. If we can, even if you can argue that it was inappropriate, it's not illegal.
Okay, you're going to come back later, Pat. We're going to